comes in, says, you guys are underestimating the value of a young quarterback, regardless of his history. If Zach plays the rest of the way like he did this past Sunday, oh boy, most people blame the Jet coaching staff for Zach's play. Yeah, the national narrative, like as much as we have seen all of Zach's plays, and we like know the backstory of like, you know, how he has performed, the national media, like the 30, we'll call it 30 other teams, just because the Giants are in our media landscape as well. But the 30 other teams in the league, they're looking at the Jets. They're saying, like, these guys cannot develop a quarterback. They're constantly ragging on this kid. They dragged him through the dirt. He had 2 offensive coordinators. One was a first-time OC. The other one was a failed OC or a failed head coach that became, you know, in here. They didn't give him any time to sit. They threw him to the wolves. He didn't have any weapons. There's no offensive line. Like, they're going to make a bunch of excuses, just like they did with Sam Darnold and Adam Gase. I think Piddle-Dee-Poo is right. I do think that, well, especially if Zach balls out. I think if Zach balls out, we're getting a second for him. I don't think we're going to get a first from anyone, but I think a second-round pick is squarely in the conversation if he balls out the way he did this past Sunday. Matt, do you want to refute anything I've just said?
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson had Sam Darnold had significantly more flashes in his 3 years than in his 3 years. That would be my rebuttal. And I was, you guys remember where I was. You know, I wanted to move on off of Sam Darnold. I thought it was the right decision to reset the clock and, you know, start over. The team wasn't going to be ready to compete. And, you know, the rookie contract, all those things. And for all those reasons. And they moved off of Sam Darnold and drafted Zach Wilson. And just because I wanted the Jets to draft Zach Wilson, I don't think means that now at this point you have to stand that decision and be like, oh, like that's it. You just got to keep him forever until it works out. Like, I don't know. I think if you see after whatever it's going to be, 35 starts, if there's 2 games with 2 touchdowns and 300 yards versus 28 games with 0 touchdowns and like, I don't think it's going to be enough to get someone to bite for a second and a fourth. Maybe. I hope, obviously, because that'd be better for the Jets. But maybe I still think you're looking at a day 3 pick.
So that's the tricky part of it all, right? Like, there's quarterbacks in the league, or maybe not so much in the league right now, because the shifting of the rookie contract has changed the value and how long teams can wait on a quarterback. Like when Steve Young had all that time to develop, it wasn't necessarily the same type of contract that they are now. Alex Smith, I don't know. How long did it take him before he wound up doing well? It was until Harbaugh got there. It had to be 5 years, probably, maybe 6. He was struggling he was awful for so long. And then if you told me I could get Alex, I think he finished with like 35,000 yards. Alex Smith's a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean that's such a big outlier, though. Of like normally people like, what are the chances of someone with this production through 3 years is going to turn into even an Alex Smith level of quarterback?
I mean, it's not very high because there's not many guys that have had this long to be this bad. Usually, if they're playing this poorly, they're getting swapped out a little earlier. I think because Alex Smith was the number 1 overall pick, and I think because Zach Wilson was the number 2 overall pick, I think that's why we're seeing as long of a leash on them. I don't know. I get the feeling based on his, I don't know. The fear in me is like, man, he's just going to go off somewhere else, and we're going to look like even worse, like as an organization. And I don't want that to happen. Like if Zach leaves and goes somewhere else, like I really want him to suck because I don't want to have to deal with the like, oh man, he was so good and the Jets let him walk out the door. I don't want to see it.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I wouldn't either.
That's called governing your life by fear.
Oh, dude,
I prefer to live my life by facts. That's why I live. What have you seen? Collect the data. That's my thing.
I don't need data. I have alternative facts in my head that I'm going to listen to, and I'm going to say I'm terrified. Yeah. It's the same fear that every fucking Jet fan has. Well, we're going to cut someone. Oh, look, the Patriots picked him up for the last 20 years, and it's like, Danny Woodhead, now he's good. Or like, I don't know. I guess there's not like a crazy laundry list of players, but literally like every time we feel like the Patriots pick up a guy, the reaction is always like, oh, great, now he's going to be good. And that's just sort of how I feel about Zach. And maybe that's just ingrained into me from like years and years of like pain. But like, I don't know. I am nervous. I'm nervous that he's going to do well elsewhere and not for us. It would really
So
suck.
you're willing to continue this cycle of pure ineptitude?
I would be willing to have him as quarterback 3 for the duration of time that we have him under his guaranteed contract for, barring getting like a high draft pick for him. If you get a second round pick and they want to move off him, fine. I don't care. But like if the best pick you're going to get is a 5th or 6th round pick, no, I do not want to get rid of him. I'd rather him compete with another quarterback to be quarterback 2, make him work for quarterback 2. And worst case scenario, you have a Jacoby Brissett or whoever is your quarterback 2. And then you got Zach, who you can make inactive, or, whatever, the emergency quarterback. I would rather that and then wait for a team to lose a quarterback, showcase him in preseason, and then trade him before the season next year, as opposed to letting him walk in the offseason. I think we have a much better shot of making him look good over the course of the next, 8 months before the start of next season. Like, I'm not saying to start him over Aaron Rodgers or to even make him the backup next year. I'm saying bring in the backup like you would have, and I think Zach and his upside is worth more to us than the 5th or 6th round pick that you could get for him and the loss of whatever the 53rd player on our roster would be. Like, I think I'd rather lose player 53 and keep Zach for the upside than have a 5th round pick and, someone from the 5th round. That's just my thing.
I would rather get him off the roster so we don't have to do it's everyone else's fault but Zach Wilson's for another year.
But do you think that happens if we have another quarterback in front of him? Like, if we have 2 quarterbacks in front of him, the same thing's going to happen with Zach?
Yes. I mean, have you seen these people online? They're crazy. Okay,
but
Denver.
I'm saying that we should have had a viable backup quarterback, though.
We do have a viable backup quarterback. It's the receivers, it's the penalties, it's the coaching, it's the law, everything else.
But wait, are you saying? You're being tongue in cheek.
No.
Right?
No. I'm saying it. That's the truth of it. Like where Matt is, it's like I've said before. If you look back through NFL history, and I'm sure anomalies, but generally speaking, when there's a starting quarterback benched or overtaken by somebody else, they get him off the team. You see why? Because it causes rifts. There's all kinds of weird dynamics at play. They just clean the slate. It's healthier for the organization. Here we are again, and there's all madness. Look at Salah's face in the interviews. He looks like he's gone. I mean, not this week. He seemed a little bit better because we won. But he's like, and he's got to talk about this fucking Zach Wilson. This is 3 years of talking about this guy. And it's just like, you got to clean it, man. And like, it have every potential to, in 2, 3, 5 years, to be a good quarterback. Sure thing. But clearly, he's not now. Now, if he's turning a corner, let's see him play 2 good games in a row. When he finally does that, we can have a different conversation. He has not done in 3 mother effing years, dude. So I just, the whole idea that it's somehow going to be better if Zach's quarterback 3, it's like, well, I should be quarterback 2. There's going to be all this stuff caters to Zach Truthers. Fucking Aaron Rodgers goes down and Brissett comes in or whoever it is. And then you got the people calling for Zach. It's just madness. You just clean it. And you go forward with the team, the team that you can build. That's what, in my opinion, if you can get a pick, if he's playing well and the pick goes up 2 rounds, you take it and you jump. That's what I think.
I feel like
it's better
if Rodgers goes down and we have a Brissett here and we've taken a quarterback, because I think most of us would probably want to take a swing on a quarterback in the draft at some point, like 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, like somewhere in there. If we have that guy sitting behind Brissett, you don't think fans are going to be like, we want to see the young kid, instead of this veteran backup? Like, it's going to be the same thing either way. Like, why not, not tie a young quarterback to this regime? And I don't know. I'm yelling into the void at this point.
I disagree.